Every day, hundreds of thousands of people bring their dogs to dog parks. What's the point? Are you actually helping your dog or are you hurting your dog? Let's find out. So dog parks, to start, they are a great concept. Our dog gets to socialize with other dogs. They get to communicate with each other. They get to run around and get their energy out. And us as humans get to hang out with other people as the love of our lives, our dogs, our family members, our companions are having fun. And we get to watch that and we get to enjoy that. It's a great concept to begin with, but before we bring our dog into that situation, we need to think about what are our goals with our dog. Because what we do with our dog is going to depend on what our goals with our dog are. And if you want to have a clear, healthy relationship with your dog, these are probably your goals and these should be your goals. So our two main goals, and these are pretty wide scope and pretty all-encompassing, but our dog adapts to our life and we give our dog fulfillment. First, our dog adapts to our lives. We have to take a step back, and I talk about this in my online course and community all the time, but dogs are wild animals. We domesticate dogs by bringing them into our household, but naturally, your dog in your household is not designed to go out to a restaurant with you and sit at a table, at least not naturally. They are not designed to do all of these things that us as humans want our dog to do with us. And I work with a ton of dog owners that struggle with this, where they have to change their entire life for their dog. And that's not why anyone gets a dog. People get a dog because they want the dog to live with them. I just recently worked with a client who the dog's separation anxiety was so bad that in order for them to go to the grocery store or go out to dinner, they had to hire a dog sitter. It's like a baby 2.0, except your dog is not happy. And so we want the opposite to happen. We want our dog to adapt to our life. Those of you that struggle with a reactive dog or a poorly behaved dog, you have to go out of your way to fit your dog's needs. You have to, your dog is not adapting to your life, you are adapting to your dog's life. And that's really not what we want. That's not one of our main goals in dog ownership and companionship. And the second one is giving our dog fulfillment. That includes making them happy, giving them what they need as a dog, giving them the life that they deserve to live. And a lot of owners get fulfillment wrong. I have a whole section on my online course about fulfillment and how to give your dog fulfillment, but we can briefly talk about what gives your dog fulfillment. One of the things they need are mental and physical exercise, and they need a leader, a pack leader. They need someone to guide them through life living with humans. If your dog does not have a leader, they will be running around in circles, going to their natural tendencies. Behaviors that they do naturally will be encouraged, and they will start to do undesired behaviors, continue to do undesired behaviors. And so to give our dog fulfillment in our life, and these are pretty broad, we're not getting into specifics here, but those are really the two things that our dog needs. And we think about our dog's fulfillment and mental and physical exercise, we can kind of relate that to a dog park, at least in an ideal world. Our dog not only gets physical exercise, they get to run around and play with a ball, do whatever with other dogs, but they also get mental exercise, right? They're communicating with dogs. It's a little bit of mental exercise. There's a lot going on. That is a little bit of mental exercise. So, right, I get the concept of a dog park kind of filling these needs, but we need to talk about what is actually at a dog park. And I'll also say, if you have a reactive dog or a dog that has more serious behavioral issues, could be a slew of things. It could be reactivity, resource guarding, a lack of obedience. It could be separation anxiety, demand barking, any behavioral issue. A dog park is actually encouraging your dog to do that more. I'll get to it, but in particular, reactivity. So dog parks are full of many things, and I'm gonna go over what they are full of. They are full of understimulated dogs. They are full of poorly behaved dogs, poorly socialized dogs, dogs with no obedience, bad dog owners, diseases, And dogs that shouldn't be at dog parks. Dogs that shouldn't be at dog parks, I hear this. I don't go to dog parks personally, but I hear this all the time. Oh, my dog's aggressive, my dog has bit a bunch of dogs, and we go to a dog park every day. In two separate conversations, but this is the same dog that we're talking about. A ton of people do that. And if you bring your dog to dog parks, your dog either has been or will be attacked and bit and hurt. But that's what dog parks are full of. You can kind of see where I'm going with this, but if your goal is your dog adapts to your life, I want my dogs to adapt to my life. If that's your goal, you don't want your dog to see other dogs and have either a positive or a negative experience. If you bring your dog to a dog park, they are going to have one of the two. They are going to have a really good experience, or they are going to have a really bad experience. You might say, okay, well, Ethan, I want them to have a good experience. I want them to be happy, but that's not making them happy. Giving them a good experience with dogs. Let's go through this example. You bring your dog to a dog park, you let them go, they run around, they play. They are overstimulated, they're overexcited. They are getting reinforcement from the behavior. What happens there? And this is the cause of most reactivity cases. If your dog is reactive, this is probably, and not 100%, but probably at least part of the reason is your dog, they get reinforcement from hanging out with dogs. They get reinforcement from playing around and being overly excited and having no rules. So then you put them on a leash, a totally different situation. You're not near the dog park, but you have your dog on a leash. Your dog sees another dog. Your dog will always search for that reinforcement. Your dog got reinforcement last time from running around and being crazy with these other dogs in an uncontrolled environment. Your dog's gonna search for that again. And when we don't let them, when we're on a leash, we most of the time don't let our dogs say hi, or at least some of the time, our dog gets frustrated. They are searching for that reinforcement and they're not getting it. And that's why your dog gets frustrated and starts barking and growling and lunging at other dogs, because they had a positive or a good experience. They got reinforcement from hanging out with other dogs. So that's one side. Okay, you take your dog to a dog park and they have a terrible experience. Why do we not want that? Well, part of it's obvious, but your dog is, you put your dog in a dog park, they get in there, they don't necessarily love other dogs, they get bum rushed by 15 other dogs, pinned in a corner, your dog has to fend for themselves. Your dog forms that association. Okay, when there's other dogs around, I need to fend for myself. I need to protect, because my leader, my owner is not protecting me. So we were out on a leash walking around, our dog sees another dog. I got reinforcement last time from protecting myself. I got some punishment because this was undesirable. I did not have a good experience. And I was eventually removed from it. From whatever actions I did, your dog is going to understand that's how I have to protect myself. And walking down the street, they're going to growl, bark, lunge at other dogs to protect themselves because you're not doing it, but also because you put them in that situation. And so we don't want our dog to have a really good experience, a reinforcing experience, or a really punishing experience in either way, because we want our dog to see other dogs and not care. When you and I are walking down the street, I see people, we're walking past, we see people, we don't stop and stare, we don't do anything, right? We might look at the person, we might say hi if we're friends or neighbors or something, but that's really it. And this is something that humans, that I don't know, we understand a lot of things with dogs, but I don't understand why people can't grasp this, where they're out with their dog and their dog wants to say hi to every single other dog. If that was a kid, if that was a human, and the person wanted to say hi, every single person, jump in their arms, play with them, that would be extremely unhealthy, and no one would let that happen. And the same thing on the other side. If a kid or a human or a person was deathly afraid of every single person that walked by, that's another thing that we just wouldn't let happen, but we let our dogs do it because we take them to dog parks and they either have a reinforcing experience, they want to do it more, or they have a punishing experience where they didn't like it and they want to avoid it at all costs. And both paths lead to reactivity, poor relationship, and an unhealthy relationship where your dog, your goals, your dog doesn't adapt to your life anymore, and your dog also doesn't get any fulfillment in their life for many reasons. One, because you have to avoid other people, or you can't do specific things with your dog that give them fulfillment because they are reactive or have other behavioral issues. And it spirals out of control. Your dog loses their fulfillment. Your dog can't adapt to our life, and it falls apart. And your dog is a lot less happy because you're taking them to dog parks. all of these problems that come, it's a wide scoping relationship, right? Your dog's reactivity is not solely about them being on a leash on a walk. It is all encompassing. It is your relationship. It is how you communicate with them inside your house in different situations throughout your entire day. And we need to think about everything that we do. So instead of going to a dog park, what would give your dog more fulfillment? What would allow your dog to adapt to your life? Right, those are our two goals here. How could you make those happen? Working on your relationship with your dog. Your dog does not need to play with 15 other dogs every day, nor do they necessarily want to. I'm not telling you not to introduce your dog to other people or other dogs, but do it in a controlled environment with dogs that you know, in situations that you know, in situations where you are willing to let your dog say hi. If you have a neighbor, a friend, or family member has another dog, put them in the backyard, put them in an area where they can play and socialize. But give your dog structure. Right? We talked about structure and leadership and how your dog needs clear boundaries. I talk about this in my online course all the time. How do you solve any behavioral problem? You give them clear boundaries. You give them reinforcement, positive or negative reinforcement, for behaviors that you want to be repeated, because that's how dogs learn. And you give them positive or negative punishment for behaviors that we don't want to be repeated, for behaviors that we deem as humans as undesired, because our dog is always going to figure out their own things to do if left to their own devices. And so that's why us as humans need to step in, stop bringing our dog to dog parks. It's only hurting us, it's hurting our dog, it's hurting our lives, and most importantly, your dog is not happy if they go to dog parks. If you found this video helpful, or if it surprised you, leave me a comment below, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.